What's up, Motard fam? It's your boy Motard Steve, bringing you a maintenance video on the Husqvarna 701. Spark plugs, something a lot of people overlook. I do myself, but one thing you have to remember is that this little thing here, or in this case these two little things here, are the whole thing, that like one of the most important things to your combustion process, because without spark you have no combustion. And if your spark plugs are bad and they're dying, well then you're getting poor combustion. And of course with bad spark plugs, that means bad performance, bad combustion, bad gas mileage, just bad starting. These little things pertain to so much with what goes on with your motor, so you definitely don't need to overlook these. They're due at 12 anyway, and you got to think, the harder you ride, the more stress you're going to be putting on those spark plugs, because think about it, the higher RPMs you ride over a period of time, that's more times these spark plugs are sparking off. So just remember that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right into this. So once you get to this point, guys, it's just a matter of taking your spark plugs out. You've got one here and you've got one up there. Just for reference, the one that has DI, D as in dog, goes in this outer one, or as you can say, the bottom one. And then the one with BI goes in the top one, or as you can say, the inner one. Just letting you guys know that. But from here, basically all we have to do is just remove this stuff. And then boom, there we go. I don't know if that's focusing, but that's the DI spark plug. It's going to look thin like that. The new one looks pretty thin. The inner one can be a little bit harder to get to because you kind of have to work around the frame and everything. But again, it's not very hard to get to. And if you guys feel like this is getting in the way, this actually pops out. And then you can move it off to the side or zip tie it wherever you want to put it. You know, if these cables are in your way. So if you want to put it right there so it's out of the way, you can do that. Alright, so let's compare. If it will focus. There you go. That is your new one and your old one. Alright, so now that they're out, it's just a matter of cleaning the holes up. If you got any dirt, you can use brake cleaner. Like I said, I've already took this apart, so I've already kind of cleaned everything. So now pretty much all you got to do is put everything back together in reverse order that I showed you taking it apart. It's pretty much that simple. Just like I said, don't worry, it's not... One good thing to remember is you don't really have to worry about putting your spark plugs in the wrong hole, because look, different size threads, so there's no way you can put the big one in the little one and the little one in the big one. That's what she said. Now, it's very important when you do this that you just don't let it kind of thread it in by hand. Don't use the ratchet. You can use the socket so you have a better feel on it, but don't use a ratchet to throw it in there, because you're going to end up cross-threading it. And trust me, the last thing you want to do is strip the threads where your spark plugs go into your motor, because guess what? You're going to be buying a whole new case at that point. So believe it or not, because the spark plugs are different size, they do have different torque specs. The inner one, or the upper one, whatever you want to call it, is 18 Newton meters, or for us Americans, 13.3 foot-pounds. And the smaller one is going to be 11 Newton meters, and respectively it's going to be 8.1 foot-pounds. Now I'll tell you, from doing my oil change, my oil filter bolts are about 8 foot-pounds. 8 foot-pounds is not a lot. That's like literally, it's just like, you know, hand tight. You know, snug it up and then just give it one tiny little bump, and right there, that's good. And honestly, 13 foot-pounds isn't much either. If you don't have a torque wrench, which I don't think my torque wrench will fit in there, but I'll try, but I don't think it does. But if you don't have a torque wrench, just use common sense. You know, don't crank it down in there and like get a bunch of leverage on it and just twist. You know, you don't need that. Now, I don't remember if I mentioned earlier, but You can't clean iridium plugs. I don't care what anyone tells you, you can't clean them because you'll destroy the coating on the electrode itself. And if you do that, guess what? You just ruined your brand new spark plugs. Or if you had spark plugs that weren't working that great and then you tried to clean them, guess what? You just completely ruined them. So iridium plugs, just replace them. They're like 12 bucks. And like I said, you can't clean them, and don't try to gap them. Now, if you want to get technical, this little ground arm does not have any plating on it, as far as what I've been told. It's this little electrode that you don't want to touch. But in my opinion, just put them in there. They're already gapped for their average application anyway, so they should work. So you shouldn't have to worry about that. Because if you try to gap your iridium plugs and you screw them up, guess what? It's not my problem, because I just told you not to do it. So don't do that. Now we've got to put the holder and the coils back on. Now, as you can see, I've color coded everything. This is yellow. These are yellow. This has got masking tape on it. This has got masking tape on it. So, just keep that in mind. Leave your inner coil, this one, in there. Take this one out, put it on like a soft rag or something so it doesn't get messed up. Also, if you haven't already, this is the time where you want to kind of lube up these O-rings here. It'll make taking them out next time a lot easier. Make sure when you do put it in there, the connector is facing towards the left. You've got two bolts. One here, and you've got one over here that you're going to have to sneak by these cables. That's why earlier I said make sure whatever you're using for your screwdriver or for your torque spit is not very thick, because you have to make clearance with these. Now again guys, these do not require a lot of torque. I do have the torque spec for them if you guys want to hear it, but I'm telling you, it's like 8 foot-pounds. Off the top of my head I remember it's like 8 foot-pounds, but just so you guys know, I will tell you. Yeah, it's not even that. It's 7.4 foot-pounds. Then once you're sure you got those two bolts snug, what you're going to do is you're going to take this coil, you're just going to push down on it until it seats. Right there, that's seated. Now, just going to do the same thing with the other one. Like I said, make sure you remove your tape. I probably shouldn't have used duct tape. Oh, never mind. There's no sticky residue. Again, make sure your O-rings are oiled up. I just used white lithium grease. I'm sure there's probably something better you can use, but that's just what I used. And then same thing, you're going to slide it down in there. Alright. And like I said, I color-coded everything, so we know that this wire here is going to go to here. But first, don't forget to put your charcoal canister or whatever the hell it is there. Also, if you need some zip ties, you can zip tie these together. They were zip tied together before. Now you just got to plug the connectors up to their respective ones. The white one goes to the outer coil. The black one goes to the inner coil. Now this other black one here, that is for this. So the way you can tell which one's which, your spark plug ones have yellow inside of them. So you know if it's yellow, then it's spark plug. If it's this just white one, that's this. Well, there you have it, guys. There's how you do the spark plug job on your 701. Now I know I didn't really show the disassembly part. To be honest with you, there's a little bit of a backstory to that. I was really in a hurry to try to get these spark plugs in here because at the time, the Husky was my only working form of transportation. And then it got to the point where it wouldn't start anymore and it ran like crap. And so I was really trying to hustle and put these spark plugs in because at the time, that's what I thought what the issue was. But it turns out it was actually clogged fuel filters or dirty fuel filters. And, you know, as you guys know, the Husky's running perfect now. But, so I took the liberty to show you guys how to do the spark plugs. And I already assembled them the day before. And I ended up having the wrong spark plugs, I think. So I had to order them in. And as soon as they got them in, I went to put them in. And I went to make this video. You know, so I didn't film me disassembling it, but I'll be completely honest with you guys. It's a very straightforward process. I'm not the most mechanically inclined person, so I feel like the saying, if I can do it, you can do it, comes to mind. But for those of you that may want some guidance more than this video, I am going to include a link to the web page of a guy doing the job on his KTM 690, which the job is pretty much the same. I think the spark plug numbers are different, but as far as how you do it, it's all the same. But also, just as a special treat to you guys, I assume if you're watching this video, you like to try to do your own maintenance on your Husky. I took the liberty to upload the whole entire repair manual, not the owner's manual, but the repair manual. You know, the manual that will show you how to take every little thing apart on the Husky, like to completely strip it down if you wanted to using this manual. I'm going to include a MediaFire link in the description below. You guys can go and download that. I uploaded it, so it's safe. It's not a virus, nothing crazy like that. If you've never used a MediaFire, I know a lot of people get sketched out about that, but I personally uploaded this. You guys can go check it out. You can download it, and then you'll have a PDF copy on your computer, and you can put that on your phone if you want, if you got a PDF application on your phone. And you pretty much have a repair manual for your bike no matter where you're at all times. So I do that for you guys. Hope you guys appreciate that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, be sure to comment, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.